I am so sick of the cope when it comes to the Raja Jackson situation. And although 95% of us are in agreement that the Raja Jackson situation was a cold-blooded attempt to take someone's life, 5% of people are just doing mental gymnastics and coping to try to minimize the situation. And Chael Sonnen has come out with a couple of videos where he, in my opinion, is minimizing this and saying that it's not, well, you know, we're going to react to what Chael has to say. We also have Strickland saying that Raja Jackson shouldn't go to prison. I'm going to talk about that as well. And we also have, again, other people in the MMA world that are also saying things along the lines of this whole thing was a fix, this whole thing was a work. And again, it kind of ties into the Chael Sonnen take, because Chael Sonnen is kind of alluding to the fact that because Raja Jackson has yet to be arrested and he is not behind bars yet, therefore, because the system has allowed him to be free since the incident, therefore, it must have been a bit of a work. It's a WWE thing. They're not going to arrest him because of that, right? And that ultimately, this was all for hype. There's some people that think that this was all for hype, that this was all for a gimmick. Well, I don't know, man, but when I see Raja Jackson flee the scene and basically start yelling at the top of his lungs and he's sweating bullets because he's just done something crazy, that is not the look of a guy that just did something that was planned from the get-go. That's the look of someone that has totally lost their fucking cool. You have to just be someone that is missing a screw in your brain that doesn't allow you to see reality, okay? To think that this is some kind of a fucking joke or some kind of a gimmick. Insane. First things first, let's get to the Chael Sonnen take, and then we're going to get to the Strickland take. So Chael Sonnen is essentially making the argument that if Raja Jackson had done what he had done in a parking lot of a grocery store or a gas station, he would be behind bars right now. But because he did it at a wrestling event, and there's some notion that it was scripted, I guess, Chael Sonnen believes that there's plausible deniability that he, it's all a big gimmick, what he would call a work. His initial video, I think he was saying something to the effect of, Raja Jackson wasn't actually that angry.
It did not appear that Raja had lost his temper.
Does this look like the face and the intonation of someone that's not that angry? This is a clip of Raja Jackson shortly after he almost took this poor man's life.
I'm tired of everybody fucking playing with me and shit. Think I'm always playing and shit. Call me bitch and shit. Not no fucking bitch, bro. At the end of the day, I'm gonna stand up for my fucking self. Because I'm tired of everybody fucking playing with me.
Does that not look like someone that is absolutely ballistic? Not that he appeared to not be that angry. Dude, he literally would have killed this man. Literally would have ended this guy's life if nobody pulled him off. And then this is what Chael had to say today.
I let Joel yell at me. And he's telling me, he said, this is an attempted murder.
So Chael Sonnen has a friend that didn't like what he had to say in his initial video on this subject. And his friend is yelling at him saying, dude, this is an attempted murder. Why the heck are you trying to minimize this? And Chael Sonnen is hearing him out. And this is what Chael Sonnen is going to respond.
And I said, all right, Joel, if I would have called the police from a payphone anonymously and told them that I saw you do that in a 7-Eleven parking lot, you would have been in handcuffs hours ago. He goes, yeah, that's right where I belong. I said, oh, okay, but in this case, it's on video. The police are in possession of the video, and they have not made an arrest. That is the talking point. The psychology there is very fascinating, of which judge, jury, and executioner has decided they got the evidence, they got the premeditation.
That's basically Chael's statement. He's like, well, why has the judge, the jury, the police, why have they not arrested this guy yet? First off, it's been 2 days, okay? This happened not a year ago, not 2 years ago, 2 days ago. Also, it happens all the time. How many videos, horrific videos have we seen of people getting jumped, of people getting knocked out, videos of people getting ganged up on and kicked in the head while they're unconscious, and no arrest is made? Just because the system that is not protecting people doesn't leap at the bits to put this man behind bars, just because he's able to do a stream with his dad a couple of days later, does not mean this was not attempted murder. And it doesn't mean that by the system and the police not delivering swift justice, because they didn't deliver swift justice, they are in the right. Well, you know, the police haven't done anything yet, and I fully trust the police in everything they always do. I trust the way that they are not swiftly delivering justice and are caught up with other things. I trust that, and you know, we're all in good hands, and everyone's got to calm down. Let the professionals deal with it at the pace that they want to deal with it. Yeah, that's a failure. That's not a good thing, okay? Just because that's become normal does not mean that that is good, and it doesn't mean that you're basically minimizing what he did because the police have yet to act a certain way. Hey, you've got two fucking eyes. You can see what he did. You can see what he did. This is the problem with Chael. Chael is so into arguing of all the fucking specifics. It's like, dude, we're talking about what should be done. We're talking about what any sensible society should do. And that is, if you have someone beat someone to the brink of death in a malicious attempt, which is obvious that they're never going to stop punching this person until they're dead. You know, this is an occasion where this man, Raja Jackson, has no regard for human life. It's not, well, you know, the system hasn't put him in prison yet they are enabling it. The system is fucking weak and pathetic. And so what? You agree with every single little decision that the system makes? The judges decide, you know, letting this guy off, bullshit short sentences for the most heinous crimes. So fucking what? We're talking about what should be done. And you're, by harping on the technicality of, well, technically, they haven't arrested him yet. It's like, so what is your point? What is your point? Are you trying to say that they shouldn't? Do you agree with them? And then why? Did you watch Raja Jackson pummel this guy and try to take his life, showing no signs that he was going to let up from punching him? Did you watch that and sit there with a fucking glazed over look in your eye, thinking that he was going to stop? I don't understand what you're trying to do. This is either Chael trying to be different for the sake of being different. He's trying to be your contrarian, typical contrarian, to stubbornly continue to try to argue against the masses where, you know, the masses are right in the situation. The police should have had him arrested that night. They didn't. That is an absolute failure on them. That is a failure on the fucking system. Just because the system is failing to protect people, just because they are enabling this, doesn't mean that they should. And you know what? It happens all the fucking time. And that's a big problem. That's kind of the point that a lot of people are making. That, you know, people like this should not be allowed to just, you know, start frolicking out in the world again after trying to kill this man. Okay? And you know what? I disagree with the fact that if someone saw this happen at a gas station, they would 100% be behind bars right now. That shit happens all the time. And people that do shit like that all the time are never behind bars. Or they get let off easy. Or, it's, you know, the police are too busy giving someone a fucking speeding ticket. They're too busy, finding you. You technically didn't pay your extra 5 cents on your taxes. We're going to throw you in jail for 50 years. But this guy that almost pummeled this man to death, we'll get to that later. That's kind of like what people are tired of. And it's just weakness. But also, this is going to tie into Sean Strickland. So Sean Strickland is basically saying that this guy shouldn't go to prison. He says, looks like someone else is going to be joining anger management. Jackson's kid shouldn't go to jail. Prison should always be the last resort. I was arrested at 19 for by the way, 19, that's different than being 25. Still, if you do something like this, you should go to jail, but your brain isn't even fully developed till you're 25. Raja Jackson's 25 years old. There's a big difference there. And also, I was arrested at 19 for 2 felonies, GBIs. I would have spent 5 to 6 years in prison if the DA had its way. This is the problem with this kind of thinking. I think what Sean Strickland is failing to recognize is that there's another person in the situation. The other man that got beaten almost to death and had to be saved by somebody else. he exists in this situation as well. What about him? Raja Jackson shouldn't go to prison? You're acting like Raja Jackson is the only person that matters in this situation. The other man deserves justice for what was done to him and what was about to be done to him. Someone attempted to kill him maliciously and was not going to stop and gave him serious injuries. I mean, I don't know how he's holding up right now. Apparently, he's in stable condition, but that could be a brutal concussion that he's going to have to deal with for quite some time. Where's his justice? Huh? Because, Sean Strickland, you got to put yourself in the shoes of the person that's in the beatdown, the shoes of the family members of the person that's in the beatdown. And you got to really think about, okay, what does this mean for society? Why do decent people that aren't going to try to beat the fucking living shit out of someone until they're almost dead, attempting to kill them over nothing, why do the people that do not do that, why do we have to live around others that do? Now, again, Raja Jackson just proved to us that he will try to kill you over something small, over something petty. That is not normal behavior. This was not Raja Jackson trying to kill someone that had messed with him consistently for 2 years straight, or did something horrible to a loved one, okay? Or tried to take his friend's life on the spot, and so he jumps in and tries to kill them in rage. That's not what this was. This was him trying to take someone's life over a small misunderstanding. The way that Sean Strickland is fucking framing this is if it's Raja Jackson's world and we're all in his world and we want what's best for Raja Jackson. Fuck what's best for Raja Jackson right now. What's best for Raja Jackson is that he can frolic around continuing to stream. If you were to ask Raja Jackson, would you rather continue to stream and live your life, or would you rather be behind bars? The obvious answer is I'd rather continue to stream and live life. And sure, I'll try my best not to do that, but hey, you've already seen. He did this as a grown-ass man. He has the potential to do this again. Why are we thinking about what's best for Raja Jackson? What about Stu? What about him? What about other people in society? This guy's only 25. He's going to have a long life ahead of him. God forbid someone minorly inconveniences Raja Jackson, and the next thing you know, they're being sent to the afterlife. You cannot condone that. You cannot allow society to live this way, because you punish 95% of decent people that aren't going to act this way. And we must be at the hands of people that are going to menace society, because you're more focused on, but what about Raja Jackson? What about everybody else, dude? What about Stu? He was almost fucking killed. What about him? What about his family? What if he's never the same? And you're focused on Raja Jackson's rehabilitation? Again, that's not to say that people like Raja Jackson, again, I think that you can still try to help them, but you can try to help them while giving them their deserved consequence. You can try to help them in prison. You could still do that. You could try to rehabilitate him in prison. The point is, rehabilitation outside of prison, not after the kind of shit that he just did. This kind of thinking is, it's like focusing on Raja Jackson. What's best? You have it all wrong, Sean. You have it all wrong. And listen, Sean Strickland, he's a well-meaning person when it comes to this statement, but this is ignorant. It's stupid. I talked about this in my video. I talked about, different judges and how they're kind of projecting their wish for humanity onto even the most stubborn people that will never actually act normal. And so Sean Strickland, he's a bit of a crazy person too, but he's projecting his wish for Raja Jackson onto Raja Jackson. And Raja Jackson just proved to us in the world, anyone that has any sense, that actually he's incapable of acting normally, and he's a menace to society. I understand you have good intentions, and I understand that you're projecting your wish for Raja to rise above what he just did, but there needs to be justice. That is a very important element here. There needs to be justice. Same thing when it comes to Chael Sonnen. There needs to be justice. Just because the police have yet to deliver swift justice does not mean that isn't a failure. You're arguing that, guys, it's all good. Justice hasn't been served, and it shouldn't be. Why? Because it was a pro wrestling event? you have to be one dense son of a bitch to look at this and to not see that Raja Jackson is not playing a fucking character. Chael Sonnen's out here talking about, well, if you just look at the 10 seconds, then sure, I think he deserves to be in prison, but you have to look at the whole situation. Yeah, you can look at the whole situation. You can see that he was extremely riled up, brewing with anger. You could look at his reaction after the fact, where he's sweating bullets, he's panting, he's sort of panicked. He's slowly coming out of the icy red state, and he's basically throwing a tantrum. That's not the sign of someone. Chael Sonnen said that this was a man that was in control of his temper. You have to be fucking, some things I don't want to say. You have to be blind. You have to be delusional to look at this guy after the fact and think that this is someone that is not insanely unstable. You have to be delusional. You have to be blind as a fucking bat to look at Raja Jackson after he did what he did to Stu and think, yeah, I guess he wasn't actually out of control and he was actually in control of his emotions. And this was all a work. You're giving him so much credit. Like, they're talking about Raja Jackson as if he's some Oscar level actor. You know what I mean? Like, maybe there would be some understanding of a take like that if instead of Raja Jackson doing this, it was a multiple time Oscar award winning actor that had done this. And maybe you could make the argument that, dude, they're one of the best actors in the world. And, they were paid to hype up the event for Kick. You know what I mean? Like, again, there's other people that are saying, time will vindicate me when you all realize the Raja clip was nothing more than a viral clip because he is a streamer. Again, these people are blind. They don't understand human emotion. I don't understand how you can't see it for what it is. This was not a WWE event. Okay, this was a pro wrestling event, but I mean, this was not someone acting. This was not Raja. How can you look at his lack of emotional control? How can you look at someone that is so clearly having a fucking breakdown and think that this person is actually just acting to hype up Kick? Okay? The other guy's in the hospital. Does he need to be dead for you people to understand this? The other guy is in critical condition in the fucking hospital. And again, they're like, no, I think it was all fake. You know, these are real punches. Even if Raja Jackson was told to get in the ring, this was someone the first person that tried to pull him off, Raja shucked them off and continued to punch this guy. You just do not understand humanity if you're watching this and you think that Raja Jackson is in control of his emotions and not just going ballistic, trying to take someone's life. Okay? You do not understand people. You are blind as a bat. You are delusional. You are straight up delusional. Sean Strickland, I don't think Sean Strickland's delusional with his statement. I think he's just extremely ignorant. I think that Chael Sonnen and statements like this are delusional. Chael Sonnen, I like Chael Sonnen, but you're blind. You're blind. You're delusional, and you do not understand people. And, you know, anytime someone looks at an event like this and they try to look too deep into the weeds to try to pick apart how it could be fake, I don't know what that is. It's very strange. It's very strange. There's a lack of basic understanding. There's a lack of just, I don't even know what to call it. Like, you're just totally lacking any basic understanding of the world at this point. I don't know. I could put it a lot better than that. I'm sorry. I may not be able to describe it perfectly, but this is ignorant. Sean Strickland, when things like this happen, it's not about how do we be nice and caring to Raja Jackson. It's about how do we deliver justice to the world. That is very important. How do we deliver justice to Stu? How do we deliver justice to Stu's family? And how do we deliver justice to society when people that are menaces commit acts like this? Is it right to let them off with a hug. And is it right to be compassionate? Let them off with a hug and try to, you know, give them a pep talk, and community service is enough, right? We'll try to rehabilitate them. Is that enough? Is that really going to incentivize? Is that really going to put fear into people's hearts when it comes to, should I hurt this person? Should I try to kill them over nothing? The way to dissuade people from doing this type of shit is if Raja Jackson knew that anyone who acts like this is immediately going to go to prison. There's still a lot of people like that would go to prison. The point that I'm making is, if it was a precedent in society that as soon as someone acts like this, they're going behind bars and there's no excuse and we're not letting them off easy, less people are going to act like this out of fear. And that should be the deterrent. This is not a deterrent. This is just enabling people. All this does is enable him to act like this in the future. All this does is you're putting other people in harm's way in the future. As I said, God forbid someone minorly inconveniences him in a similar way. Okay? So, just a totally ignorant statement from Sean Strickland. This stuff does deserve prison time. Again, too focused on Raja Jackson. I'm sorry, but after he almost killed someone, like, I don't think he deserves you to really be thinking about, well, what's best for Raja? What's best for Raja? How about what's best for the guy that almost got killed? What's best for his family? You know what I mean? Just insane stuff. People are coping. Again, people are saying that it's all some kind of a work. Chael Sonnen is saying that because the system has allowed him to continue to walk out and about and frolic around after this incident, therefore it vindicates his original point that this was all some kind of a work. Like, that's just so unbelievably dense. I don't even know what to say. That is just insane. That is insane levels of coping right there. And, you know, how silly is it going to look? I think that this will be a case where he probably ends up doing some time. And then maybe that will allow some other people to understand that actually it wasn't a fucking work. Again, how do you... Chael Sonnen saying, if you're just watching it in a vacuum, dude, it's actually the opposite. If you were to watch before and after the you know, pummeling moment, if you were to watch before and after, it becomes even more clear what this was. It becomes even more clear that Raja Jackson was, while he was watching the event before he stormed the ring, sorry, this is for another video. We'll get to that. But it becomes even more clear that before he was going to storm the ring, he was becoming less and less sane. Like, he was deteriorating mentally rapidly in front of our eyes and getting closer and closer to a breaking point to where he could not control his rage and his impulse. So, this idea that, oh, well, if you just watch the 20-second clip alone, of course you're going to think that. Actually, if you just watch the 20-second clip alone, you could actually make the argument that it looks real, but we need more to the story. Actually, the story kind of proves that this is malicious even more. Okay? So, just insane. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Until next time.